yet another month on development issues on OminiraTV. My name is Zainab Sani. The commencement of the Africa Free Trade Agreement was set for July 1, 2020. The agreement, which has the signature of 54 African countries, has been described as a powerful tool for Africa's economic integration. The United Nations Economic Commission for Africa estimates that the agreement will boost intra-African trade by 52% by 2022. It would appear that COVID-19 has affected plans for the agreement. There is also the question of Africa's ability to implement this agreement. Now joining me on development issues this month is Dr. Olusade Taiwo, the beautiful founder of Center for Enterprise Development and Action Research. She is an intra-regional trade expert. Thank you for joining us on the program, ma'am.
Thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, rather. Yeah.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm doing great, and you?
Thank you. Fine.
Okay, so it's been a very hard year, I must say. You know, economically, for a lot of people, for a lot of countries, agriculture-wise. Just think of every sector, as every sector has been affected, and one thing that has been affected is intra-regional trade and even international trade itself, with many countries shutting up their borders, other countries saying that they are no longer exporting certain foods and all the rest. What would you say the year has been like? I mean, I've said a lot, but you are in a better position to tell us what the year has been like for intra-regional trade.
Yeah, like you said, so far it's been a very difficult year. A year that the kind of things that one has never seen before, even our parents have never seen before, is emerging. However, with every bad thing comes some opportunities. And I think there are some opportunities that will ultimately come with this issue of the pandemic. True, we were set for the intra-regional trade, although Nigeria and some countries are still dragging their feet, rightly, for some reasons. But I will say that this is actually the time to prepare properly. As it is with many African governments, we seem to rush decisions, not in terms of time, but in terms of adequate analysis of the situation. I've worked in the government policy environment for some time, and sometimes I think we don't do enough analysis before going into agreements, and when we sign hurriedly, it can put us in a mess. When you take time to even answer, it doesn't mean you're analyzing properly.
Okay.
So the important thing is analysis. You will recall that before this, we had closed our borders.
Yes.
I don't know whether you are still going to ask those questions. Maybe I should wait till that. Just go on into
talk about the fact that you said Nigeria and some other countries are dragging their feet on this agreement. Before we go to how COVID-19 has affected the trade agreements, why is that the case? You know, it is expected that this will boost intra-regional trade. It would bring about economic prosperity. So why is Nigeria dragging? You said they are rightly dragging their feet. If I'm going to quote you, why?
Because, like I said, we're not fully prepared to enjoy the benefits of intra-regional trade. We need to, first of all, put our house in order. Although the borders were closed with the other West African countries, they are so close to us. I was in Ghana in November, and Ghanaians were so bitter about it.
Okay.
However, I think the border closure has allowed us some time to prepare and get ready.
But is it enough time?
We were still on track when COVID happened, so this is the time to prepare properly before the gates are open. Let me explain that a little bit more. Our patterns of production and trading are not well structured. We don't have enough to produce, that we produce in an organized manner before we start exporting.
So you're saying that the intra-regional trade is still largely informal and structures need to be put in place before we sign that kind of agreement?
Not that. Production systems are poorly structured. However, I can tell you that in the last few months, from my experience on the field, it's getting some structures.
And your experience should hold because you're an expert.
Not really, just someone who is observing the ground. And I also even participate in some things as a way of researching. Let me give you concrete examples. I don't like talking, you know, in
abstract.
Yeah. More people are now engaging in farming in a structured manner, like clusters, like, you know, the Anchor Borough program of the government. Not that I really believe it's working very well. It's working, but there's still room for improvement. However, what I'm saying is, because Nigerians have been doing, you know, small scale farming, you know, unstructured small plots, now more people are getting together and gaining advantages of large scale production. So there can be many actors, but coordinated input supply, coordinated extension, and other things, and coordinated markets.
So you've already spoken about the need for structures before, you know, we put pen to paper for the Africa Free Trade Agreements.
Yes, why I was talking about structure is that Nigerians were not too organized in terms of reaching international markets, and even the private sector. You know, here we have more of smallholder farmers and producers. Yeah. 99%, over 99% of Nigerian producers are in the MSME sector. MSME means micro, small, and medium enterprises sector. And you won't believe that of that percentage, the majority are even micro, because that's the area I work in. They are micro. So if you are talking about micro, how many micros can reach the international market? They need to come together. That's what I mean by structure. But this COVID period is giving us in some advantage of coming together better to deal with, you know, single off-takers. A lot of producers coming together as a cluster and then meeting a single off-taker who can now
at international front.
Yes. Okay. Or even if individuals want to expand the scope of their activities and reach the regional market, they need to be more organized, they need to have more information, they need to be able to relate to organizations that can help and advocate for policies, which are things we were very flimsy at doing. But from my observation, practical experience, I think more of that is coming on. It was coming up before, but COVID has made us stronger.
The process.
Yes, because quote and unquote, we're in a semi-closed economy for this period. We've been closed up for the last few months, although cargo moves. But individuals have been blocked from going out. And you reach business negotiations and things when you travel a bit. Although a lot can be done online, however, there's still a lot.
Let's move away from the Nigerian picture. You know, let's come to the African scene itself. People have been talking about how Africa Free Trade Agreements would change a lot, how it would bring economic prosperity. You know, what were those challenges that was battling with intra-regional trade in Africa before they came together and said we want to have these agreements in place to boost trade in the region?
Okay.
And how would the agreements address these challenges?
First of all, note that Nigeria is a major player in all this. We have the largest population. Every one of 5 Africans is a Nigerian.
Yes.
Yeah. And South Africa is also another big player. But Nigeria has been a bit You know, our structures have been, I won't say the worst, have been the most unorganized. In other African regions, sub-regions like the East African countries, they have an arrangement.
Yes, they always seem very coordinated.
They are coordinated. East and Southern African countries, they have their arrangements. So it's been difficult to, you know, they have some form of protection too. So intra-African trade is good if we are working as partners that have equal opportunities.
But do we?
And that's the problem we had with international trade. I think economists will have to start revisiting the issue of what we call comparative advantage, as against too much emphasis on competitiveness.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I mean by comparative advantage. You know this country is good for these products. Let's specialize on it and exchange with our brothers who don't have it and create markets. In fact, there are some things which we have and they don't even know. They've never seen. Some African countries have never seen yams. I lived in South Africa a bit, and when I talk about yams, say, oh, Shade, what is it? Let me see, can I see? You know, that kind of thing. Some have a lot of plantains, others don't have. You know, those are the things. So we first of all need to work out some of these arrangements and come together and decide what will be better for what country to share. Otherwise, they'll be competing and we will still be at the same level we were before. So what I'm saying effectively is that intra-African trade creates better market access. However, it needs to be a bit structured before we can enjoy those benefits.
There's the fear that because of COVID and the fear of food insecurity, many countries are closing up their borders. You already said in fact, many countries have closed up their borders and they don't appear like they want to open it anytime soon. In fact, Nigeria borders are still closed, semi-closed, and won't that affect the possibility, you know, the viability of the African Free Trade Agreements?
I can tell you that borders are closed, but cargo border is not closed. Things are moving out of this country every day. Export business is going on. Once there's a demand, once there is market access, many of our local producers are now, you know.
Okay, but beyond that, you know, when a government feels like what we have isn't even enough for people in the country, they don't want to export. They want to keep what they have. They want to manage it, pending when they can find a solution.
A few days ago, the government said, I don't know from which agency, the government said, Central Bank said, no more maize importation.
Something like that.
Because we have the capacity. What is maize? Isn't this maize outside here? That we have enough capacity to produce enough maize to feed our factories, confectionery, this and that, feed mill. And we make feed here. We have a feed mill here, and the largest proportion of our feed ingredients is maize. About 80 to 90% is maize. So why would we import that when we have arable land in excess? Nobody is using it. Like I said, so people have started. If you see this production year, I'm sure we were afraid at the beginning that there would be famine next year, but now I'm beginning to feel there won't be famine because everybody is desperate. Like we have on this farm now, everybody is planting things around their house, although that's subsistence. But apart from the subsistence, people are also experimenting with large-scale farming. I joined a group of farmers producing rice. We are all joining all sorts of things, and you don't have to be on the farm before becoming a farmer now.
I like that you mentioned the increased interest in farming. It's been seen, you know, everywhere you look around, people are planting all manner of things. But the issue really is when you import things, they tend to be cheaper than when we produce them here in our country. And a very good example is the maize we are talking about. So why is that the case?
Yes, in Nigeria, like I told you, I said we have structural problems. Many of them are institutional issues, policy issues, and issues about even the social relations in production systems. However, one major factor that makes things very expensive in Nigeria is the issue of power. You all know about it. We've said a lot about it. Power is not assisting production in Nigeria. We don't have enough power, and people are spending a lot of money generating their own power. Apart from it, there are many people, there are many people are not enjoying the benefits of economies of scale by doing things together and enjoying benefits of the economies of scale, like I said. So production cost comes higher, and then there is a lot of administrative bottlenecks. Yes, you want to do something, you have to make several visits, get permits. You spend a lot of money on permits, and well, it's unfortunate we have to mention it. The issue of corruption, it builds up, in this costing system. So because of all these things, and then, like I told you before, in terms of structure, we are more in the MSME sector. It's a large proportion of producers are in the micro, small, and medium enterprises sector, which cannot enjoy a low cost of production because they're too small, they're individualistic, and it affects.
So all of these things just add up.
They add up to make costing high here, and relative to production there, where things are done on a large scale, and there's all the things you need, all the materials you need to make things cheap. They have it. For instance, if we take farming again, agriculture, because a lot of production in agriculture, agri looks like one of the mainstays in the country.
Yes.
In agriculture, cost of labor is so high because all the farmers are aging. They don't want to do farming anymore. And if you want to get good farmers that are still young, who are ready to sacrifice, the cost is high. Yet it's so easy to use tractors. How can we at this? If you use tractor, one day it has planted everything, and yet it will take many days for farmers who are working manually to cultivate. So we don't use enough technology to make our things fast, to make our things, happen quickly, like in the foreign countries. I think my husband talks about comparing manual, because it does a lot of fabrication, design and fabrication, comparing manual labor to machine labor. Some of the agricultural equipment that he produces work 40 times faster. Even ordinary handheld devices. There's something called handheld tractor. It's a two-wheel tractor. You can hold it like a bicycle or something, like whatever. That one alone can work faster, 40 times faster than human beings.
So the economy needs to better utilize
technology, improve electricity supply.
That's a big one.
Improve the organization of production to be more, coordinated, group-led, cluster. The Southeast Asian countries developed using the cluster arrangement.
So we too can do it.
We can do it, like all you young people now, cluster together to produce. Put your brains together, make it easier, let people specialize in what they know how to do. Okay. Many times I advertise to people, if you want to use, we have a space, let some young people who don't have somewhere to start come together. You can get money together to purchase raw materials from a particular, it comes cheaper if you buy bulk. You know all these principles. Bulk purchasing is easier. Bulk arrangements are easier. You share the cost of management, of administration. You don't need to have several managers.
Okay, so let me cut you right there as we round up this conversation. Now, the average business owner is probably watching and is thinking or is wondering, how does this really affect me? I mean, how would a better economy, how would a better intra-regional trade structure, how would the proper execution of this agreement improve business for me or improve the economy in such a way that it affects my business positively?
You mean how an individual...
How intra-regional trade, you know, and the proper execution of that agreement would boost business for the private business owners, so for the private sector generally.
It will increase market opportunities, but our people need to be able to, like I talk about analysis at the government level, individuals also need to analyze. They need to, the technology has made it easier now. There's a lot of stuff online. People need to search and look for opportunities beyond, you know, Nigeria. If they have products that, you know, other countries are looking for that we have in excess here, then let them look for those opportunities. And the Nigerian Export Promotion Council is doing a lot these days, and it's easier to access them. You know, in those days we used to feel, government, it's difficult to access government. But Export Promotion Council is in every state now. It takes position in state ministries. They beg for small space. Like in Oyo State now, there's a small space in the Ministry of Commerce that is a federal agency, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. If you go there, you can register anytime. Do you know it's like 2 days, 48 hours turnaround time to register as an exporter?
Wow.
And they also have lists of countries that are looking for what. So it's about information. Let people go out and look for information and see what they can benefit from international and from regional trade. The demands are high. I get the requests every day from different African countries, things that, you know, they want and that we have. Talking about comparative advantage again, Tanzania, South Africa, whatever, all of these countries, East Africa, the demands are there.
To put it very simply, the future is bright.
The future is bright, but let's put our house in order first. Let's not go out yet. During COVID, let's put our house in order. Once COVID is over, well, people say COVID can never be over. It's like flu, but we can get the treatment, the vaccination, whatever. We don't know what's going to happen next. A disease we don't understand yet. But it can't be like this forever. So if we have used this opportunity to put our houses in order, it will be easier for us to access the intra-African market. But let us first of all see our internal market to see what benefits we can enjoy here before going out. But of course, it will make Pan-Africanism, you know, stronger when we go out to the African countries. And especially I talk to the youths, because they have better access to technology. There is a lot they can gain from going online to see what opportunities exist. And they also have the capacity to brand well. They have eyes for branding. They like things to look decent. So it's not all about hush puppy affair. I'm sorry, I'm mentioning names. But at least there are opportunities out there, both inside Nigeria, West Africa, and in the Africa region. So,
all right, it's been such a pleasurable conversation with you, ma, and we hope to have
same
you
goes
again
here.
In the nearest future.
Hopefully.
Yes. So that is it this month on development issues. Thank you for joining us. See you next month.